Oh,
Gangsters.
oh shoot! I was under the controls instead of Deb, and I still managed to do it somehow. I guessed.
Yeah, good job.
So, what's going on? Oh shoot!
We lost Dev.
Wait, did Deb do that intentionally? I don't know if Deb did that intentionally or not.
What's up with Dev, man? We lost Dev.
Oh, all right. Deb's back. Deb's back. All right. So for everybody joining in, you can see we got
We
two of the
late.
members.
We got all type of. Everybody
Yeah,
got issues tonight except Mike.
yeah. On time like
Yeah.
usual. Yeah, so everybody, you want to explain yourselves, or we can skip past all of that.
We all got having all
Stuff.
type of unforeseen issues that we had to attend to tonight.
Stuff.
Yeah, I just had a face off with a raccoon, Gad. Word.
In Manhattan?
Yeah. There's mad raccoons down in the city, man.
I've never even seen a raccoon in Manhattan.
Yeah. Just had a face off with one walking to my car. It wasn't a rat, it was a raccoon. Yeah.
Yo.
Stop. I stopped.
With that wildlife stuff, I don't care to see anything else other than, well, you definitely don't expect it to see in the city, but I swear, like I forget where I was out somewhere else before, but I was like, yo, I don't want to see nothing really pass. I really don't even want to see a deer, to be honest with you. I don't want no deer rushing up on me. But like you keep it a deer, the small things like a rabbit, whatever, Be out in Jersey sometimes they have a bear, like, oh, people are like, oh, that bear, they ain't gonna do it. Oh, hell no. Like now I don't want to see no bear. I don't care if it's small or not.
I like that nature stuff though. Yo, the only thing I don't really like, I don't like snakes, man. And I don't like insects. I don't like bugs and shit. But other than that, I like nature, man. Actually, you know what I want to do? I want to go shark diving.
What?
I want to go in one of those cages and see what the freaking great whites is up to underneath that water, man.
Yeah, you go figure that out. Yo,
Hopefully that joint. Hopefully I don't end up like that movie, man, where the cage disconnected. I end up at the bottom of the sea.
Oh, you do something like that, it's like anything goes, man. What the hell? Like,
Yeah, but I'll just swim back up. Hopefully if I can get out the cage.
Yo, I was just looking at, there was just this video on that showed this lady, I assume it was legit and everything. You also showed this lady, like there's a shark or two swimming underneath it. She was like on a
What's up, Calvin? What's up, Perry?
She was doing all type of. You need me to mute you for a second? I'm gonna mute you for no, not necessarily. Oh shit! All right, I'm gonna mute you for 1 second. There, so you get that real quick. So she was she was like standing up on a paddleboard or a surfboard or something like that, and the thing just came on. Deb, I'm gonna mute you back because it was making crazy sound. She was in the shark like hit it or whatever. She was like tipping back and forth. She was like, oh, and like fell like right into the water. I was like, yo.
Yeah, but yo, them sharks ain't really looking to attack you, man.
The hell with that, yo. They move like alligators. It's like instinctive. Like they ain't even thinking about it. Like I watched somebody else. There was another video somebody showed with alligators. Like yo, they don't try to bite you. It's just like they go when it's like opportunistic. Like he like smacked something next to where the alligator was, and they just instinctively like yo just jump with their jaws. Like,
yeah, because I mean because you gotta also too. It's that's a protection thing, not just a I'm gonna eat you thing. You know what I'm saying? Like. Outside of like microorganisms and viruses, I guess, we ain't really no animal's natural food source. The only thing that eat at us, man, is like diseases and viruses. I guess we can be considered their natural food source. But like when you look at bears and snakes and alligators, man, like most alligators will go their whole life without never eating a human. You know what I'm saying? So, we ain't their food source. So they ain't instinctively looking at us like, yo, I'm hungry, I'm going to eat them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Please tell me how you guys are talking about alligators and being eaten. I was having audio issues, and I come in and you're talking about
I don't know how you
alligators and sharks.
He was talking about how the night start, what's been going on. I was telling him we all got things, but I was telling him I just had a standoff with a raccoon. So he was like, yo, I didn't know there was raccoons in the city. And I'm like, yeah. So I was telling him I was going to my car and there was one like coming down and he just stopped. You know, we looking at each other like, who gonna move? But I was like, I could beat him to my car. I was like, yeah, I'll beat him to my car. And when I get in the car, I'll run you over. I don't want to kill you, but I will if I have to. You know what I'm saying? So,
Charles, you got conflict with a raccoon, man? What's...
Yeah, he was just, you know, he held his ground, or she held her ground for a minute, and then she backed off and just walked the other way.
People, stop texting my phone. Whoever, don't text me, because not on my computer. Everything's going. It's driving me crazy. So if you're watching this, don't text. Somebody just text.
Yeah, all of us except Mike. None of us are home. David's in his car. I'm in my car, but I'm actually not driving. I'm just sitting in my car.
Oh man! Well, thanks for telling everybody I'm doing something that I shouldn't be doing with the light on in North Carolina.
You said you was having.
I was about to make a joke. I said, yo, the only difference with what you see with Charles now and him driving is if he's driving, he usually got his eyes closed.
Yeah. Yo, we established that a long time ago that nobody drives sleep better than me, man. Yo, Mike, I ever crashed you?
That's funny.
Nah, but I also won't drive with you after 9 o'clock.
Charles, how many times have we seen you on the show driving?
Yeah, a few.
You gotta be kidding me.
Yeah,
I'm not really driving far though. I'm just like circling in the same area. I'm not really driving. Like right now, I'm not even driving. I'm just sitting in my car. You know, when I'm in my car, I ain't driving no more than about, you know, a couple of feet here and there. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, I'm actually just chilling. I'm actually getting ready to get out the car because it's hot up in here.
I think I might have told you before, Z, but on the real, like I got a time limit when I will not drive.
What is that? What are you? Oh, that is crazy. I don't know if that was a fire.
What's up, Tara?
My sons are behind me. I know y'all like, what in the world's going on and why we so late? So in a nutshell, we got ready to go on. My sons had a blowout or something, one of their tires, and that's what happened. So tonight is all on me. So I just wanted to, but I don't know. Just now, I don't know if it was a fox or something, but something was in the road. Yeah, I gotta go. Yeah, something was in the road.
Y'all dealing with all that wildlife stuff, man. It's crazy.
Oh, you go to upstate New York, you see the same thing. You go to upstate New York, you see the same thing. It's no different than North Carolina. Well, it's different, but you get my drift. I see people in the threads. Okay, I slowed down, so I'm not doing anything illegal at this point. Let me see. Buffalo.
That dispatcher. That was, Calvin. That was crazy.
Let's build into it.
But
Charles,
what is it?
Explain, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's the dispatcher for anybody who might not know what's going on?
The only thing I don't know, if anybody knows, I don't know if it was a male or a female dispatcher.
Start from the beginning, because
you got to tell people a context.
Nah. I'm just saying, because I don't want to say he or she, because I don't know the sex of the dispatcher.
Wait, start from the beginning of the story, though, because you start from dispatcher.
All right, so basically,
I didn't mean to start there.
No, the girl who I believe was the assistant manager or manager at the supermarket had called 911.
Wait, back it up further than that. Because there's some people.
So when the shooting was going on, one of the people in the store hiding, who I believe was either the manager or the assistant manager, called 911 to basically report that there was an active shooter, but she was whispering. And the
There's a
dispatcher,
supermarket shooting up in Buffalo, New York that happened in a couple of days ago.
yeah, I mean,
Saturday, May 14th.
okay, yeah. So I'm sure everybody's familiar with the Buffalo shooting. So from there, the dispatcher that she got connected to, she was basically whispering because she said the guy was close to her, she could hear him. And the dispatcher was like, "Why are you whispering?" And she was trying to explain to him because there's an active shooter in the store, and the dispatcher hung up on her. And she said she had to call her boyfriend, who had to call 911 to report it. So as of right now, so that's crazy in and of itself. So right now they said that the dispatcher has been suspended, placed on leave or whatever, pending a disciplinary hearing. There's no doubt they're going to fire the person, male or female. I don't know what it was. I think Calvin said it was a female dispatcher. Regardless, she's getting fired because I'm sure, I don't know for a fact, but I would almost be willing to bet that there's some type of protocol that you are not supposed to hang up on anybody that calls 911. And sometimes if the phone disconnects, the 911 operator will call back the number. You know what I mean? So to have hung up on somebody in any situation is crazy. And then for you to realize you hung up on somebody who was basically literally at that moment hiding for their life because somebody was actively shooting. Now, forget shooting. Somebody was actively hunting them at the moment that they're calling you. And for you to do that, there's no question, 100% that dispatcher is going to lose their job. But it's still, because it's going to always be these unknown questions. Then, had she not hung up, would they have come quicker? Would it have saved one person? It's going to always be those type of questions that maybe it wouldn't have made a difference. The same number of people would have got killed or whatever. But it's just the fact that happened. And, I don't even know what possessed the operator to even do something like that. I can't even imagine what made the operator be like, "Yo, I ain't listening to this call," and just hang up.
Yeah.
So that's basically the gist of it. And there's the correctional officer that kind of ties into the shooting that posted a meme. A correctional officer at Attica posted a meme on social media where it was like, "Yo, clean up," like, how they be like, "Clean up aisle 5" or something like that. Posted like some type of joke type emoji like that, making fun of it. So he got suspended. They already said they're trying to fire him, and they're trying to get the other officers that put like laughing emojis and stuff on it and everything. And they was like, "Yo, they're moving to terminate all of them for that." You know what I mean? So yeah, that's the society we live in that, found that somebody found that funny. You know what I'm saying? So this is America.
Yeah, before we go any further, I want to say, rest in peace to everybody that was murdered on Saturday by that cowardly, idiot, racist, young, indoctrinated dipshit that went in there and murdered the way he murdered. I can't even tell you what I hope for him, because then I'm gonna have to be on my knees praying, but animals like that, whatever. Animals like that, whatever.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all, man. Like, this shooting did something to me. I'm not even gonna tell you no lie. It's funny, not funny, but it's like every time you think, I'm not gonna say that you've seen it all, but maybe you felt it all. I'm gonna say it like that. You felt it all. Something happens that just reminds you of either your humanity or basically your savageness. And I mean that literally. Because that dude literally read stuff off of the internet, supposedly, and then looked at the model of what took place in that mosque, in the Christ Church Mosque or whatever. And then he did what he did. If we go back and we look, white men been shooting up shit for a long time, man. They've been shooting themselves. They shoot each other. They shoot. But this is like, I'm not going to say another level of savagery. But what would make, like, I can't even fathom what would go through your brain. I can't, like, I'm saying on my worst day that I've been on this earth, I've never in my life wanted to pick up an assault rifle and go and shoot people. On some of the hardest days of my life. And I'm like, and I was sitting up there and I was thinking, I was like, because Saturday, like when it happened Saturday, that was one thing. But Sunday and Monday, man, I was sort of out of it, man. Because when I think, I'm gonna put it to this way. I said I didn't want to see the video. And somebody, I guess, didn't hear it. And they sent me a message, but it was just a blank message. And I get stuff all the time. And as soon as I clicked it, it was this whatever the hell you want to call him. And he shot the first young lady.
Yeah.
And I cut it off fast because I don't want no more images, man. Like I did all that in the 80s when I was a kid, watching the Faces of Death and all that crazy stuff. And then, through the 90s, you feel like you can witness anything until you witness stuff. And then once you see stuff in real life, you don't want to see that stuff no more. And I don't want to hear nothing about no criminally insane. I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want nothing white. Fry him. That's it.
I mean, he's going to end up with the death penalty. Ain't no doubt. He's definitely going to get this. Yeah. Because there's no way the federal, I mean, he left this 186-page manifesto. Like, there's no way to get around not charging them with hate crimes. And there's federal statutes, which is kind of bugged out on another level with all of the hate crime bills and everything. But yeah, there's already federal hate crime laws. And you know what I'm saying? They don't pertain to blacks, so to speak, or Asians, so to speak. But, like, even without an anti-lynching law, there's laws on the books. Like, you can't hang people from trees. There's already laws on the books for that type of stuff. And there's federal hate crime laws that carry the death penalty if your hate crime results in death, or if it results in like a kidnapping or a rape. Like, you could get the death penalty. It's the same thing like Dylan Roof. The state of South Carolina sentenced Dylan Roof to life without parole, but the federal government gave him the death penalty. And that's the same thing that's going to happen in New York, because New York doesn't have a death penalty. He's going to get life in New York for the 10 murders, which is really going to be nothing because the federal government.
Who this Dow Johnson dude, man? Is he one of my friends? Because I'm in the car. Is he one of my friends?
I don't know who he is.
Yo, block him. Whoever he is, get him out of here. Can you get him out of here? I don't even know what he's talking about. He sound crazy, man. No Monday morning quarterback, man. That dude did what he did on a Sunday. Know the difference. Ain't no Monday morning quarterbacking. He killed elders.
Yeah.
He killed elders.
And I saw that video too, kid. Like, somebody showed me the video from, probably the same one you saw. It starts with him in the car, live streaming it. And yeah, like I saw it from the point when he pulled up to the store and got out the car.
Exactly.
All the way till he got to the white person and apologized and kept walking. So by the time that video that people were seeing, I guess, where he pointed the gun at the white person and apologized, he had probably already killed like 5 people. And
wow.
And that first lady that he killed, kid, like, she didn't even see what was coming. Like, she literally got out of
she looked up.
Yeah, and by the time she looked up, you just heard the pop up, and she dropped.
And on her
face. It was like, and I was like, damn, man, this lady don't even know Not that it make a difference like that, but I'm like, yo, this lady don't even know why she died. What the hell happened? Like, she literally got out to her car, walked, popped her head up for a second, and got hit with like 2 bullets, dropped immediately. The other lady was coming out the store, just got gunned down, like coming out your grocery store, kid. Like, yo, that shit is crazy. It's beyond crazy. It's like, and then, you know, like that shit he reading online, and I'm just saying to myself, how does a white motherfucker in a country that's 66% white, that live in a town that's 90% white, feel he being replaced by anybody? You know what I'm saying? To like have some, yo, that shit just crazy to even, like, yo, and then to think like you scouted out that supermarket multiple times. Like, yo, you drove hours to hunt people. Like, yo, fuck just shoot. Yo, you drove to go hunting black people.
People, yeah.
Yo, and look at who he killed, man. Like, yo, a lot of them people was like in their 70s.
Man, he killed elders. He killed a 32-year-old woman. He would have killed anything except the white guy that he apologized to.
Yeah, that video was kind of crazy. I saw it. There was like a 15 or 20-second clip with him pointing at somebody. Did it look like, did he actually fire? But then he was like,
I don't think he fired at him. And once he realized, he looked and the dude like screamed, like he yelped.
It sounded like he actually like fired off a shot by accident, like like, you know, at the same time.
I think the dude yelled like "Don't shoot" or something, and he was just like sorry.
I heard that part, but it sounded like there was like, because the way they put the clip was cut.
Now, I mean, you probably, I don't know if it was the echo of previous shots before that, because he had just finished. Yo, he shot. Like, yo, if you didn't see the video, you know, well, let me not say you gotta see it, but yeah, you know, I mean,
that shit. Yeah, I don't never see that.
Yeah, some of that shit, yo.
Good.
One of them shootings, one of them shootings on that video, kid, that shit was crazy. I mean, all of them was crazy, but one of them, like, where it was the person was already on the ground, and like, yo, he fired another shot at him, man. Yeah, that shit was just. Yeah, that shit was pure evil, kid.
Evil, yeah. A repeated evil, but this is savage, man. This is savagery, man. This is evil. This is like, but you know what, though? Everybody that has made statements about what could have and what should have and all that other stuff, all I'm going to say is this. You've seen what you need to see in your lifetime. And that's all I'm going to say. So however you choose to prepare moving forward, so be it. But somebody did point out something that made a lot of sense to me. And they said, you know, he literally went and like Googled the zip codes in New York where the concentrations of our people are, where black people are. He didn't go to Brooklyn. He didn't go downtown Brooklyn. He didn't go to Brooklyn. He didn't go to Bedford-Stuyvesant. He went for where the soft targets were. And he came out alive. And like Perry said a second ago when I was at the light, he was streaming it. And that thing was on Facebook for like 10 hours or some mess like that, or something like that. It was viewed 3 million times before the main site that it went to removed it. That shooting at that mosque in New Zealand, 51 people got killed in a live stream. And they're looking at this whole theory and this concept of replacement genetically. Genetically, that has nothing to do with anybody. That's genetics. It's genetics. You have babies or you don't. It's just that simple. Or you can have babies or you can't. It's just that simple. Nobody's trying to replace nobody. It's just the most idiotic friggin' theories that lead to this type of shit all the time for the last few hundred years. Oh, you know, Mike is wearing glasses. We got to string him up. He's wearing glasses today. And you know, the theory is he can see further, and he's going to see into the window, and he's going to bullshit. It's always bullshit. And so really, it's not even needed to even give an excuse why you're doing it. It's just like Charles said, it's just evil. And then you look at how they fueling this stuff, like, yo, man, nobody cares about it like that. Nobody's on it like that.
So damn,
and that's why, you know something, I'm gonna say,
care about that though.
I'm gonna say this. What if you think so? If you think so, they care about that. Black people don't care about that. Name a black person that's saying, "Oh, yo, we gotta, do the replacement theory today."
Oh no,
it's not even that deep. So I'm speaking from the angle of the victims. Those people were victimized when nobody's on it like that. You can find every reason in the world to kill black people, and black people overall never find every reason in the world to be the terrorists that have been shown to us for the last few hundred years. You don't see it.
Yo, but do you remember a couple of months ago in California when they got called to the department store for an active shooter, and it was actually a dude with a bicycle chain beating people, and they killed the girl?
About that.
Yo, so what? Look, they got called to the department store for an active shooter, but it turned out it was a dude with a bicycle chain, and he was just randomly hitting people with the chain in the store. He was standing at the other end of the aisle. The cops came in there and told them to drop it, right? I mean, but you could clearly see he wasn't, at that moment, he wasn't actually attacking nobody. He had hit some girl up at the front of the aisle, then he walked to the end of the aisle. The cop told him to drop it and fired at him within like 3 seconds, and he had a bicycle chain in his hand. They killed him, but one of the bullets went through the wall and killed the little girl in the dressing room that was hiding, right? So it was a big to-do. Yeah, but now I'm just saying that to say, look at the difference. Yo, you came in a department store, and within 3 seconds, with nobody dead, you shot a person, a Hispanic male. You shot him within like 3 seconds of encountering him. But you walked into a store in Baltimore where there was dead bodies in the parking lot before you even got in the store.
Before you even got in the store.
And you didn't fire a round. And you did not fire one round with the assailant still holding the rifle in his hand. And you fired within 3 seconds. And you fired within 3 seconds of encountering a dude with a bicycle chain.
What about encountering a mentally ill 75-year-old woman with a knife inside her house who might be freaking out because she's thinking whatever, and they shoot her? We know since, man, I don't even know. I don't want to talk about what we know. I'm going to say it like, if this doesn't motivate you in some way, shape, or form to do something, to change something, to do just a little bit more, nothing will. And like somebody else pointed out, we seen children, get murdered in schools. It really didn't change nothing. So what are we really expecting?
Yo, but that's what I told. I was talking to a dude at my job, and I was like, y'all always say that the Democrats are coming to get your guns, right? And all the Second Amendment. And I'm not totally opposed to the Second Amendment at all, right? But you always make this argument that the Democrats are coming to get your guns. And then you always reference, the crime in New York City and these urban areas. And they always want to point to the crime in Chicago and all of that. But that's terrible too, 100%. But you're not really afraid of that because you're not going to the areas in Chicago where they're shooting each other. You're not going to no projects in Brooklyn where this is occurring. These are crimes of proximities. These are crimes of gang members. But you know what you're really fearing is your 10th grade math class, is going to Home Depot, going to Stop and Shop, and a grocery store. I said, those legal gun owners that keep shooting up America, Random shit. Like, I don't gotta be in no gang. I don't gotta be a drug dealer, none. I just gotta go to the store to get fucking cucumbers and I might get shot. You know what I'm saying? Those are the motherfuckers that's gonna get your guns taken from you. That is the one, because those are the legal gun owners that are shooting up the place, man. Because let's keep it real, man. America don't care about no black kids shooting each other in Chicago. They ain't afraid of that because you ain't going to those areas. But you afraid of when it comes into the suburban areas at your Home Depot, at your supermarkets, at a concert. You know what I'm saying? Madison Square Garden somewhere or some arena. And all the time on the subway. All of those people, they always legal gun owners. So if you're worrying about getting your gun taken, that's who's gonna get your gun taken. Your own legal second right dudes who's shooting up America randomly. But that's the side of the argument they never present. They always try to present that it's the criminals with the guns that are just doing all of this craziness.
Yeah, I mean,
but it's just yeah, man, it's just bananas, kid.
But I mean, it's nothing new. But anytime you have those mass shootings, like it's the rhetoric on, it's never classified as domestic terrorism or it's then it turns into the mental illness thing and everything. It's if it's an attack on, if the discussion comes up on assault rifles and stuff like that, it's like it's just brushed to the side and stuff like that. So it's the rhetoric is always different. It's always a different scenario with that. So it's I don't know. I don't even know if it's fair to say like that's what's going to get your guns taken away or something like that, because they make very sure of it that doesn't occur. You know what I mean? Oh, that doesn't happen. So, and Dev, I don't know if Dev's having a problem getting back.
Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, is that your phone? What's going on? Oh, we having temporary difficulties. I think something like this. Wait, we still good, Z? Or? But so I'll go back into it. Yeah, I mean, so that seems to be the situation. Like every time, like it's demographics where it happens. It's the race of the person doing the shooting. It's location. Like it got to fit like a perfect kind of criteria for like the media and stuff to come on attacking in a certain way, whatever. It's
Perry, you know what, man? I was actually glad and surprised that when Biden first spoke of it, he actually called it he said, it's hate-fueled domestic terrorism. And I was shocked. I was like, I couldn't believe that somebody had finally called it what the hell it is.
And
how is that not terrorism, kid?
That's probably like the first time it's been publicly said, especially coming out of the White House or something like that. It's because that's been unheard of. Like now, people like black people know that for sure. Like they, you wait and see a shoot, you're like, oh, all right, I know what this is gonna be. It's gonna be a mental health one. All right, somebody does something who's black, it's gonna be or Middle Eastern or whatever. All right, it's immediately terrorism. It's a white one, is this one black or color? It's gonna be different. Yeah, it's crazy. Like you can set your clock by how how the news comes out with the report on what the what the motive was behind the thing, like behind the shooting. It's crazy. You can set your clock.
Yo, Tracy. Since I'm on my phone, I can't really type. Tracy, what I don't know what you're talking about with what BL Hewley said. Type it in the comments so I could post it up to the banner to see what he said. I don't know what he said.
But here's a question. So what do you think? All right. So everybody without question, like when somebody does this stuff, they're a mad person, like crazy. But what do you think about the classification of somebody doing this if they're just like, yo, if you just classify them as mentally insane kind of thing. Like, does somebody who does this have to be mentally insane? Like, do they
Not at all. Not at all.
now of being like committed or something like that? You don't think so?
Nah, you need to be committed to the seat of that electric chair, to that gurney, and get that needle in your arm.
That's all.
Or you know what you need to do? You need to sit there blindfolded and let one of those victims' relatives put a fucking bullet in the back of your head. That's what you need. Anybody that can tell the difference between right and wrong is not criminally insane, kid. You were aware of your actions. You knew the consequences of your action. You wrote a manifesto explaining exactly why you was getting ready to do this shit. Ain't no way in the world you insane. You evil. That's what you are. You're evil. You're a hate-filled, racist, evil, fucking, I don't even know if I want to call you human. You ain't insane. You ain't psychopathic. You understood the consequences of your actions. You knew exactly what you was doing. You premeditated your actions. So don't come at me now talking about, yo, he crazy. Nah, he evil. They're not synonymous.
He's evil. He's indoctrinated in the same theories and the same ideologies that have gotten us strung from trees, torn out of the homes, babies cut out of their mothers. I mean, this is what it is. I mean, it is what it is. He bought into race science. That's all it boils down to. That concept, and I think Perry was saying that it started in the 1900s, and I saw the dude in 2019 that they were quoting. I can't remember his name, who wrote the newest paper on it. At the end of the day, in 2017, when they were out there in Virginia, I can't remember where they were, and they were saying, we will not be replaced. We will not be replaced. Nobody knew what they were talking about. Well, I didn't know. They were talking about replacement theory. They walking around with tiki torches and all this other stuff. And this is part of the reason why I keep trying to tell people, man, like I'm not trying to push hate down people's throat. I can't stand talking about this shit. But this is what I mean by how it affects us. My son, he sent me a link, Monday, like, yo, Dad, he was tripping about the shooting. So what am I supposed to do? Just ignore racism? And then I'm hearing like our people arguing, yo, listen, none of us need to argue at all on how or why that type of evil happens. Just look at it for what it is. It is domestic terrorism, but it's the same terrorism that's kept a lot of us in check for a long time. We don't want to admit it. And everybody that be sitting up there talking that big talk, I'm gonna tell you, I was in Tupelo, Mississippi in the 90s. And I might have told you all this before. I was humbled very fast at a restaurant because I realized the scope of what my ancestors had always went through. I got it in that one early breakfast when the three white dudes behind me was under their breath calling me the N-word. And I'm like, are they calling me and I'm like, they calling me the N-word? And then my peoples was like, yo, I think they are. So I'm up here unscrewing salt shakers and positioning the butter knife. I didn't have no steak knife, and I'm trying to get the fork ready. But 3 of us, 60 of them.
60.
Who gonna win, y'all? Well, I mean, we were in Tupelo, Mississippi, bro. I stood out like a pimple. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's 3 of us, and we're in another place. And I heard the dude whispering the N-word. And I kept hearing him chuckle. And I'm like, yo, is this dude saying it? And I'm trying to lean back. And then my peoples was like, yo, we ain't even on that type of time. We not armed. We're in Tupelo, Mississippi. See that? That's the gut check. You're not where you think you are. On top of that, you're somewhere where you don't know where you are. And you're not only outnumbered, you're not even near the door. So all that talk of what you would do and what I would do, I'm just saying, I was younger. I was like 27 or 28. But all that got thrown out the window. But I was so mad that I was like, yo, they like, yo, we just gotta get up out of here. Because either it's gonna go down and we gonna possibly get our torn to shreds or shot up or whatever, or we might get one or two of them or three of them, but will we come out alive? And they keep constantly reminding us with situations like this, yeah, stay in your place. Shut up and shoot. But
that shit is crazy.
We
got our guns aimed in the wrong direction, kid. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yo, you 100% right. But I'm gonna tell you something else though. He didn't go where harder targets were. That man shut when I heard that, I'm gonna tell y'all, man, I'm keeping 100 with y'all, man. I shed a tear, man, listening to that Family Monday, man. I was like, yo, this thing is starting to mess with me, and I knew it. Because I'm listening and I'm hearing, I think Mrs. Whitfield, I think her name was, the oldest one, and I'm hearing her children talk, and I'm hearing, their experiences with their mother who was murdered, and all I could think about is all the elders in my family. I was raised by elders, so elders mean something to me. And she just goes to the store to buy some food buy something for her husband who she was caring for, who was in a nursing home, and gets shot down like a damn dog. Man, any gang members that know the true history, your history was to protect the neighborhood you came from. Period. That's the game now. That's what it is. And that's not inciting violence. That's preparing for violence. And if I'm wrong, y'all correct me. Who wants to walk around and worry about going to the damn store to buy some juice and getting gunned down in a place where most people do not carry weapons? And even the officer who had a weapon, he was outgunned. It's just that simple. He was outgunned.
Dude had on the bulletproof, man. They said he got, I think he had, I think they said the officer shot him like twice or something, man. But or the retired cop, he shot him like twice, but he had the bulletproof on. But what's crazy is I read some shit where the dude said the last time he went to scope the store out, the security guard stopped him. I don't know if it was the same dude or not, but the security guard stopped him because he went in the store 3 times, and the security guard was like, said something like, yo, what's up, man? What are you looking for? And he had wrote in his manifesto and all of that, he was like, yo, I'm gonna probably have to kill that security guard. And he said, yo, I hope he doesn't kill me first or hurt me or something. You know what I mean? And then it literally happened.
Yeah, I think that was in the article that I think Dev sent to us. That was in there, and they had mentioned how he had been scoping out the place and he was stopped by the security. And they didn't say whether or not it was the same guy. At least that's not the part that I saw. But he got stopped before. There's another one of those scenarios where there was there was multiple.
Yeah, but I mean, even being realistic though, even if the security guard stopped him, who thinks? You thinking like, yo, maybe he trying to shoplift or he coming back stealing? It's like, who thinks that here's some kid that drove from 200 miles away to do some fucking surveillance mission so he could come back in a couple of months and gun us all down? You know what I'm saying? Like, even as much as we see it happen in America, you still it's like, yo, is this shit really happening right now? You know what I mean? And it's like, yo, it's so spur of the moment, so instantaneous, them shots get off. But this is what the argument with the high capacity magazines, which in New York, they said your magazine can't hold more than 10 rounds, right?
10 rounds.
But people got ones that got more, but And the Second Amendment, I'm gonna say especially the fanatical ones, they don't want no changes. But I'm saying at the end of the day, if a dude is gonna modify it, he's gonna modify it. But even the fact that, like, yo, how fast you can fire, even like if you start thinking of what can we do besides let's not do nothing and just wait for the next one, you know, even if it's not racially motivated, even if it's just somebody that just goes on the shooting rampage, you know, it's like, yo, can we slow down how many shots this dude could get off in 30 seconds? Maybe 4 more people could live. Like, goddamn, the dude is firing faster than I could take a step. He ain't shot 30 times before I could take my next breath. I couldn't even fucking blink my eyes that quick. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, like, eliminate these high-capacity rifles, these high-capacity magazines, man. They hunt people with them. They ain't putting that many fucking bullets in no deer. They hunting people with these shits, man. And it's like, yo, slow down his ability to even fire that many weapons. That many rounds of ammunition. And maybe somebody could get out of there.
Yo, so you offer some possible solutions. I wanted to chime in. Because that to me sounds, you know, as a possible solution. There is no one solution for this. I don't foresee any one solution. But like Charles said, if that's one of the ways they can somehow slow things down or start arming up, start training, start getting on the range, start learning the differences in how the guns handle. Not saying it, you know, like on some old bloodbath type stuff. That's not what I'm saying. But I heard somebody once say if everybody black joined the NRA, things would get changed. If everybody went right now and got licensed, things would be changed. I don't have any easy answers. I've offered all the solutions that I possibly could in the earlier parts of our podcast. Everything from voting local.
Yo, and they talking about, they think the Supreme Court, this is another big case that's pending outside of that abortion issue. Yo, they worrying about, will the Supreme Court strike down like New York City's gun laws as being unconstitutional and about not being able to carry and concealed and all that type of shit. They waiting on a Supreme Court ruling right now that could put New York City gun laws, because New York City and certain urban areas are like kind of, not say able to get around the Second Amendment, but like, you know, like, I don't know if you're familiar, but some people are familiar. Your license to carry a gun in New York State is not valid in New York City. You need a whole separate license to do that. You know, so it's New York State and then it's New York City. It's 2 different entities, man, when it comes to the gun laws, basically. But the Supreme Court, there's a Supreme Court ruling. I got to get all of the case information, man. I was reading on it. Yo, that it might put New York City's, damn, I forgot what they use, the terminology they use to like kind of deny the gun rights type shit. I forgot what they use, the terms. I would have to get it up. But if the Supreme Court strike this down, man, yo, freaking, man, this shit gonna get crazy. And it's like, yo,
you saying to further limit, or you saying to allow?
Nah, to strike down. Basically, New York City, it's almost impossible to get a firearm to carry concealed and all of that.
You know what I'm saying? Right? But you saying they're going to pass something to make it more...
No, they're going to make it easier.
Easier, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that they're saying that the way New York City bars you from doing it is basically unconstitutional. But there's a term they use, damn, I wish I could remember it, how they kind of get around it, like big, densely populated urban areas and stuff like that. But yeah, they talking about the Supreme Court is looking at that stuff, man. If they strike it down, you know, you basically gonna have, you know, I mean, you already got the whole city armed anyway, you know what I'm saying? But now you're gonna arm the whole city legally. You know what I mean? So it's just, yo, son. And yo, America got a gun problem. They got a gun problem. They got a racism problem, and they got a fascination with violence, man. America is fascinated with violence, man.
Problem. I mean, it's how this whole place came to be. You can't think of one time in your life when we weren't in some type of conflict.
Yo, ain't nobody trying to change no gun laws, man. Nobody. Yo, you know what? You know when that was blatantly obvious when after the school shooting at the elementary school up in Connecticut.
Yeah,
Yo,
Sandy Hook. I said the same
That's what I
thing.
was talking about earlier.
yeah,
Earlier when
yo,
I
when you
talked
when
about
you,
them
you
shooting
shut
into the
up a
white
school,
people,
you
to the
shut up a
babies and
school full of
kids.
kids and stuff like that, and ain't nobody move with no legal stuff. What you gonna do after that? Like you can't do.
Yo,
Listen, you don't shut up elementary schools. You don't shut up churches. You don't shut up like people just are going out for a Sunday
Home Depot's, Top Supermarket,
right?
Las Vegas concerts.
Like you would think of like almost the most depraved thing you can do. Other thing I ain't seen though is a man, God knock on wood, God doing like going up in like a hospital and shoot up something. But church and a hospital, like how much more depraved you gonna get? You know what I'm saying? Like until somebody be like,
Yeah,
yo,
but
something gotta change. Like, you know what I mean? Like
they're
you
not.
can't,
That's all terrorism is, though. That's all it is.
but
In a nutshell. You know what I'm
movie
saying? That's the main
for
part of
movie
it.
kids as well, like, but
I mean,
you can't go much lower
Movie
in
theaters, yep.
to the degree in which people going to do stuff and be like, yo, something needs to change with this. Like, but when you put that up against, the desire to have guns and maintain and talk about like my right to bear arms and stuff like that, yo, it's a dead end. Like it's like I don't care what's happening, you're not going to infringe on my right. You know what I'm saying?
But they always try to make it seem like it's an yo, son. Like when I read that, yo, nobody in America has an absolute right at all times and in all situations. I read a judge that wrote that. You do not have absolute rights at all times and in all situations. We're seeing that with freedom of speech. They're locking motherfuckers up for their rap lyrics and stuff like that. Yo, you can't carry your gun on an airplane. You can't carry your gun through the airport. You can't carry your gun in a court building, regardless of whether you legally own it. So your right is not absolute. You can't walk through LaGuardia Airport talking about, I got a Second Amendment right to a firearm. They're going to lock you up. So you already know that all of our rights are not absolute at all times and in all situations. Or all of our rights have limitations. You got a right to free speech, but you don't got a right to threaten, sending a bomb threat, talking about it's free speech. You don't got a right to threaten people. So none of our rights are absolute. They just try to make it seem like that when they want to promote their bullshit. But like you said, when you shot up a school, a white elementary school students, and America said, ain't nothing we doing about that. You already know it ain't no hope for none of us.
Without question. Like, and that's exactly what it's been. They're gonna be ain't nobody budging on that type of topic at all. That's already been well established. Like, because like I said, you can't go. How much worse is it gonna get? How much worse is it gonna get?
And that's what my problem is, because I'm not against the Second Amendment, but that's what my problem is with them Second Amendment gun nuts, man. It's like y'all don't want to compromise nowhere. It's just like, yo, give me my guns, give me my magazines. It's my right, my right, my right, my right, my right. And what? To protect yourself against the government? The fuck you gonna do? Shoot AR-15s at a black one of them Black Hawk helicopters, man? Like, who you really defending yourself against, man? The government? The government.
I don't think it ain't the government. It's
exactly. Come on, man. Yo, you do not have enough weaponry. You do not have surface-to-air missiles. Maybe a few people do. You do not have fighter jets, man. You are not going to beat the government by amassing fucking AR-15 rifles, kid. Nothing. Yo, they'll starve you out. Yo, cut the electricity off to the compound. Cut the water off. Yo, stop the food. Yo, we'll dehydrate them in there. Cut the water. Yo, come on, man. We'll kill them all in there without even firing a shot. Everybody just stand back. Let them shoot all their ammunition out. Just cut the electric off. No food. They're going to run out of food. They're going to run out of water. They're going to run out of electricity, man. We'll get them out. They coming out.
Yeah.
Like, yo, come on, kid. Like, you not beating the government. That's a bullshit argument. Not like that. But you don't want no restrictions. No restrictions, no nothing. I just want to be able to grab my guns and shoot. Like, yo, this shit is crazy, kid.
Yo, it is. Yo, you know what's crazy? You know what I meant to say before? I don't know if either y'all have done it. Dad, maybe you have, especially down south, but yo, like, you know, I've always I grew up like, you know, younger, you know, I guess shooting guns and things like that, and going to uncle and my pops and stuff early on. But in even more recent years, like I'm going to like ranges and stuff like that. You know, when you and I've shot like multiple like assault rifles and stuff like that. Yo, when you hear the gunshot of an AR-15 or assault weapon like go off, yo, that shakes your body like, yo, that's a piercing. Yo, the fear of just the shot alone, like I can't imagine. Yo, it's scary going into a range hearing that stuff. I can't imagine being like in a store. And yeah, well, matter of fact, I think I've been out once or twice in Brooklyn. You heard a couple times, but yo, but in all seriousness, it's like, yo, I can't imagine being in a grocery store and hearing that stuff like a few hours when you look, because it's a deafening like deaf like fearful sound, like when you hear that stuff rip through your body and stuff like that. Yo, it just all I can say is that you feel it come through your chest, and Dad, you was like shaking your head. I think you must maybe know what I was talking about, but
I was agreeing.
It's crazy. Like you know, I can't. You know, the fear that stuff must have put in people like before their lives was taken and stuff. Yo, it's awful.
It did exactly what he intended it to do. And that's just all it boiled down to. The gun he used, his manifesto, the actions he took. He's the newest terrorist. And for all of the nasty ancestral races that are probably proud of him, he can go where they are. Whatever hell they burning in, he can go where they are.
I said, kid, we should have fought. You know, with all due respect to the ancestors at that time, man. And, you know, I'm not against integration and all of that, but yo, in that moment of time during Reconstruction era and all of that, yo, we should have never fought for equality, kid. We should have fought for power, because they was never going to give equality, kid, or hundreds of years later, kid. It may give a little bit more fairness, but they never given up that power. They never given up that privilege. Yo, that's got to be taken from them. And you know, when we fought for integration, and I'm not saying I'm a segregationist or nothing like that. I'm saying during that era, when we fought for integration, man, and going on, yo, we fought to stay in white hotels, and then the black hotels went out of business because we want to stay in the white hotels and be equal. Yo, when you got that type of enemy, you don't fight for equality, kid. You fight for power. They should have slaughtered them and took control of America. Like, yo, I ain't fighting to be equal to you. And I know it would have been a hard task. I'm not faulting them at all. But yo, nah, I ain't fighting to be part of y'all. I'm getting ready to slaughter y'all for what you did to me. I don't want to be part of your government, your system. I don't want to stay in your hotel. You know what? I'm coming in this hotel like that madman did, because I got a justification because of what you did to my women, my children. Yo, they should have fought for power. Should have never, from the time of at the end of slave reconstruction, yo, they should have attacked this country for power, not equality. They should have slaughtered them.
That's tricky. That's tricky, man. That's so freaking tricky. I just want to say for the record, there were a lot of revolts. And there was a lot of fight backs. But there was also a lot of I guess I can call it African treason for all intents and purposes. And that indoctrination, which we still see elements of right now, existed then, was very powerful then. And you know, you look at somebody like Nat Turner, it's one of us that gave him up. I mean, it's just that simple. You know, I don't know if y'all knew that. Did y'all know that? He was basically getting away, and it was a yes sir, massa. I'm scared they're gonna kill me too. That basically revealed where he was. You know what I mean? And just like Darul said down here, we soft. That's why Zimmerman is still out here. You know, again, yeah. And Charles, to your point, it during that first Reconstruction, when they started realizing that the poor whites and I don't want to say the blacks, but whatever we would, the Negroes, I don't want to say whatever they were calling us at that time, we're having these conversations, and poor whites and blacks were working together, building small communities. They were trading amongst one another. And this isn't revisionist history. It's just something that happened in pockets. You know what I mean? So this wasn't for everything everywhere, but you had these pockets of communities. And then those poor whites started voting black people in the office with black people. You know what they did? They came in with those whispers and just gave the poor whites a little bit more and reminded them of what they weren't. Every time in this country, since we've been here, that we have built something, it has been torn down or destroyed or terrorized. When we talking about Sandy Hook, when that dude killed his mother, that's what he did, and then he went to that school and killed up all those children, that school wasn't full of us. America got a white male fragility problem with it's something so much deeper. But at the core of it, control and us not doing what we're supposed to do, to Charles's point, to change things. I mean, it's just that simple, man. There's no one solution. But every single step of the way, we have been outthought and outdone. And as a result, collectively, we don't even work together. And I don't have any answers, man. I told y'all, I'm looking for like minds. I can't sort of over it, man. I spent most of the 90s. I did a lot in the 90s. I'm gonna leave it at that. I did a lot, and I fought, and there was a lot of us that fought, and we were frontline, and we were training and doing all kinds of stuff, and we were learning things. I'm just gonna leave it at that. But it all fell on deaf ears. It all falls on deaf ears. Now we can't even get people just to locally vote together for things that could possibly benefit them on a local level. We're anti everything. I mean, maybe I don't know, man. Maybe I almost said something. I'm gonna shut up, man, because I'm feeling real old school, man. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm feeling real old school, and it's hard, man, when I see all of the white people I know that I know personally. They ain't saying nothing. No phone calls, nothing. Now, I'm not saying that white people aren't speaking out, because I know quite a few that are speaking out. But where the rest of y'all at that want to shoot hoop, want to come and drink on the weekends, want to go to the sporting arenas and stuff, and root for their favorite player, might have their son or daughter in a LeBron jersey. Yo, like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I can tell y'all this. we have had some hard conversations on this platform over the years. Y'all agree?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I don't know if Charles could hear you.
What just happened? He probably got us muted because he's doing his count. But for what we
Yo,
just saw,
fellas. Sorry, 1 second, Dev. Mike, y'all know what time it is. I got to get ready to finish up so I could get up out of here at 11 o'clock. So I'm going to holler at y'all later. I don't know if you're still going to be on in another 20 minutes or whatever, but once I get up out of here, I'll see if y'all still on. But I got to get ready to bounce right now and do what I got to do, all right?
All right. Yeah, I think we. All right. I think we might have a shortened show anyway. But you. All right. We'll see what's up. See?
Yeah. All right, everybody. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Yo, the brother's gonna finish it up. And I'll holler at y'all later on. All right.
peace.
Charles came in and said his strong speech and stepped out. Dad, we say something else. I was gonna read. Tia made a long comment. It was actually
Okay.
I was gonna. I don't know if it's too big to put on screen. I put on screen.
Yeah, it's up there.
So I'll read through it. So she put some 2,000 black people were killed from 1865 to 1876 during the Reconstruction era, the result of a widespread effort to use white supremacist terror to maintain economic, political, and social control over newly emancipated black people, according to the Equal Justice Initiative. The reign of terror worked to stamp out any semblance of black progress after slavery, working hand in hand with oppressive Jim Crow laws that enforced legal segregation throughout the country for decades. And then it looks like she was going on to write something else too. But that actually, I thought that kind of spoke to what Charles was saying earlier. He was stressing how like during that time of emancipation, like the thing shouldn't have been to fight for equality. It should have been, you were it should have been for power in a sense. And even well, I guess what Charles mentioned and you mentioned it, there are a number of things that his point was to do that, but there were a number of things that struck it down, or I don't know. That's
At the time, we didn't have ghettos. We didn't have these scientific means of dividing us. It was just straight brutality. And if you all pick up All God's Children by Fox Butterfield, who's a white author, I think a Pulitzer Prize author, he speaks about all of this from the actual documents from those time periods. And so all I'm saying is, right now, everything that Dr. Frances Cress Welsing has said is coming to pass. And, she wrote the ISIS paper. And I think that should be a book that everybody reads. We're talking about solutions. We got to inform ourselves on some of the reasons why these things are happening. Pardon me. We know why they're happening, but just looking at things from a deeper aspect of why they're happening. When you look at something like the Turner Diaries, you familiar with the Turner Diaries, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, I'm aware, but not in reading the details.
Yeah, without even getting too heavy into it, if you look at something like the Turner Diaries, there are a lot of people who took this piece of fiction and it becomes sort of like the book of what you see now. They live by it. And all I'm saying is, for all of the African scholars or Africans in America that have written books, none of them are saying go to war. They're just reminding us that we are at war. And this has nothing to do with like the conventional black against white and all that other stuff. What do I mean by that? Every time we have discussions about things that affect us, it's now being spread out all across all these different platforms and different people from different cultures. But the work that we have to do amongst ourselves, I'm going to hold steadfast, that's the work that we need to be doing. We have never been a savage people, not on this continent. Nowhere in the world have collectively we been like savages. But that crap that we watched, that was savage. That was savage. And the thing about it is, most of the warriors that we would have had, they either locked up for whatever the reason, or they quipping and blooding and not understanding what the original reason that they came to be was. And I think there's a documentary called Bastards of the Party. I think people should watch that. See, too many times when we get on here, Mike, and we talk, it sometimes it almost sounds contradictory, or like we're contradicting ourselves. Well, I might sound like I'm contradicting myself because I'm having to talk about different time periods and just different states of thought. That's what racism does. It keeps us so friggin' off balance.
You know what I was just thinking though. So for anybody on now who's white or other, even people could be different nationalities. Like for what Charles just said, yeah, I'm sure it comes across as some people will probably say, I hate when they use. I'm not going to get into the whole racist thing, but it's got to come across as harsh, right? So he just mentioned, he says, people during after slavery and Reconstruction, forget the equal rights stuff. You should have fought for power, like, and when he says fought, I mean obviously, like, there's a life or death situation, and like, and he's having that conversation on the tail end of us trying to fast forward and saying, like, look, we're here in 2022, and there's people out there who's trying to kill black people in masses, right? And he's following the ideology of people of color are taking over like a white race. Like that's essentially like the ideology of this dude. I forgot the name for it for a quick second. What do they call it?
Replacement theory.
Replacement theory. Yeah. So that's got to be like harsh to hear. And so what comes into play with that, right? So then that ties into the gun laws, right? The gun laws immediately, like I was saying before, like nobody wants to assault weapons, especially everyone behind the NRA and the politics and everything behind it. Like nobody wants any gun laws, touch with it, mess with it all. But then on the flip side of things, we're saying, even us, the average people's like, you gotta be, and you're saying you gotta be like ready to protect yourself in any way, shape, or form. Like, so the whole thing has gotta sound like, just, I don't know, it's scary to some. It's put a little fear in some of, it's fearful for like blacks in general, in the same way that Asians were worried a little while ago about everybody's coming in attacking stuff, and then they pass a law for the Asian community, and black people are frustrated, like, after all of this, all these hate crimes, stuff like that, still nothing's done, So yeah, I don't know. I'm jumping over a little bit, but there's
you're making you're bringing context, because pretty much in a nutshell, that's the one thing that some, I'm not going to say some racist thing, but they don't think that we have a context. Some of them actually literally believe that we're like trying to replace them by bringing immigrants into this country and by having children and all this other stuff, when most of those vital statistics and stuff, those are systems they created. You know what I mean? As far as social stats and stuff like that, that's not us. That's not us. But they don't need any more reasons to do what they've already been doing. If you have racist ideologies and murderous intentions, you don't need none of these theories. You hear it, and it's just empowering something that you pretty much in some. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I don't know.
It's reinforcing. It's one of those things. It's reinforcing. It's almost like the topic we were talking about last week. It's reinforcing like things you're already thinking, and you got additional support behind it. And that's even what happened. For what I understand, that's what happened with this dude, right? I mean, he had gone through this murderous rampage and used a GoPro to record the whole thing, try to stream it on Twitch, and with the hopes of inciting more people to follow behind it.
But they had flagged him before. Like a year or two before that in high school, he said that he was going to do a suicide murder.
Yeah, I read that.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
He said he was going to do it. But again, I like what Sean King said. He said, "What's the tattoos on the officer's arms that was locking them up? How he come out? Not that man. How did that evil whatever come out of there alive, man? Like, listen, we know why and how, but it's just ridiculous. And I have to teach my young men, excuse me, because they're not young boys. I used to call them my little men, but my young men, and I have to teach them without technically passing the trauma. Do you know how hard that is?
You have to say that again. You got to teach them what?
I have to try to teach them about this world we live in, technically without passing my trauma to them.
Oh, I got you.
And that's what it
I mean,
boils down
you gotta make them aware of a little bit of it, right? I mean, they gotta be aware of it to a degree.
Yeah, but I don't want to pass it to them. It's one thing to tell somebody I went through something versus passing that pain to them. And it's really just coming to the point where it's like, yo, like it's almost like you have to be something. Well, if you in this country, you none of us are who, in my humble opinion, none of us are who we were naturally born to be. Because there's so many things that shape us that if they weren't here, like racism, we would see how people would flourish in other ways. That's just how I see it. I could be wrong. Some of my professors when I was in college were incredibly gifted and insightful Black psychologists, sociologists, and educators. And they challenged every part of us to look at this thing, especially racism, and try to deconstruct it, but not lose our humanity in it. When you start seeing people react to this stuff, y'all just want to say, people say they want to say that they're crazy. So like a Colin Ferguson, maybe he was crazy, or maybe he was a part of the hate that hate produced. You get my drift with that, Mike? I want you to think about what I'm saying. I'm not saying what he did was right. What does that sound? Is that on your end?
Oh, it's on this side.
Oh, it's cool. It's cool. It's cool. Yeah, it's just my headset. I'm gonna turn it down.
I'm muted while you talking.
No. You don't have to mute it. I'm just gonna turn my headset down. I'm sorry. But when we look at different individuals that do crazy stuff like that, by definition, just go on a shooting rampage. Then we look at, dude that went on a shooting rampage and with the bombs and everything or whatever, smoke bombs or whatever. And from a logical perspective, it's like, yo, that's crazy. What are you doing? That's not what we do. But then literally we have to look realistically at the hate that hate produces. Mm-hmm. We have to look at it and we have to be honest about it. Because what ends up happening is if we're looking at things in a chronological order, something happens and then there's a reaction to it. I mean, yo, Mike, I'm gonna keep it 100, man. Like I couldn't believe when I cut my phone back on because I was driving and I'm reading like a shooting in Buffalo. I'm like, shooting in Buffalo? What are they talking? And of course, you know me, I'm a BBC type dude, so I'm checking there and and I'm looking through some of my, my regular news places. And then I'm looking like people shot at a grocery store. And I'm like, And then and over the last few days, how many shootings were there, Mike? There was numerous shootings. I don't know how many, numerous shootings. Yeah. We know what some of the problems are. I don't have any solutions, any easy solutions. I mean, but I don't know, man. I like my pop said, I'd rather be caught in a position where at least I can try to defend myself than be in a position where I'm just sheep. That's me. I don't know.
Like Charles said before, America just I mean, I guess there's no other way to say it, but it's a violent culture, right? I mean, you hear stuff on the news and everything from here and there, and people like blame certain sections, but like and everybody knows, like when you look at it from a broad perspective, worldwide and stuff like that, like the killings and shootings and stuff like that, like don't occur on any shootings in particular. I'll say like don't occur on any scale like they do like the U.S. and that's because it's made, it's dealt with in a way where it's not going to occur. I guess I mean, like the availability of guns and stuff like that is just not. It's not what it is like in other countries and stuff like that. And yes, I mean there are the additional things and stuff that occur here, but. There's got to, and I'm I'm an advocate for to have your own guns and it's right to bear arms and all that stuff too as well. But there's got to be, I don't even know the direct answers too, but there's got to be some attempt at something because this stuff is bananas. I mean, and even even to the degree the stuff we see on the streets and stuff every day. I mean, not even just not the mass shooting. The mass shootings happen every several months, and then they expect it. Like it's almost just to this point, it's almost like it's regular crime stat. You know what I mean? Like everybody expects a mass shooting every few months or something like that. No, it's like sick. It's sick. It's sickening, right? And you like into the level, the degree, and the locations. It's not in any situation like the I'm thinking of the little girl who just got shot. I think it was in the Bronx. Just even today, yesterday, or whatever. A little 11-year-old girl get shoot. Some dudes riding by on electric bikes, a little more. Yo, it's crazy.
What?
Yeah. Some guys were shooting. I think he was. I don't know if he was on the damn sidewalk or whatever. There's two guys riding on the bike, and he's just shooting at somebody's damn daylight hours. He misses the person he's aiming for. It travels like another block or so. Hits an 11-year-old girl. She bleeds out, stuff like that. The family's on TV distraught. Just it's. But it's crazy. Like who's, and it's just another random person, like 11-year-old girl. Like how do you, there ain't no sense behind that stuff. You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's crazy to see an 11-year-old girl like that. Imagine somebody and the people that even happen in this shooting, like the people who live in their 60s, 70s. You go through all your life. Through all the trauma and obstacles you get through, crazy. Like somebody 7 years old, you've seen a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? And you get somebody who rode up in a grocery store while you shopping in a frozen aisle or something like that, want to murder you. It's like
none of us are really built for what we're dealing with, and that's really what I take from what you're saying. I mean, I don't think I'll ever be numb to this stuff. I mean, some people do become numb to it. I don't think I'll ever be numb to it. I just think that the most smart thing that we can do is just if you can carry, if you can get your concealed, definitely have some type of protection in your home. That's if, I was anti-gun for a very long time, Mike. I was anti-gun.
Really?
I have 15. Let me see if I can you hear me, Mike? I switched out my system.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
Okay. And me and another brother, I won't say his name, but he's on Facebook. We were walking across the field looking for another brother, 15 years old, and we got shot at. 15. You know what I'm saying? So for a long time, I was like, I'm not going to say completely fearful of guns, but I was always like, nah, and I wouldn't carry guns. I would carry other things, but I wouldn't carry guns. But I'm at a point now, and pretty much through most of my adult life where I'm like, oh man, like I have a right. And we're just at a time where, everything is crazy, man. Everything is really crazy. I mean, everything is really, really crazy. And I don't know.
I was from my side, so I never had that same perspective, although I think I had a healthy respect for it, because I was introduced to guns, I guess, when I was real young, probably when I was like 8. I don't even know how, maybe the laws was different back then, but I remember like my father used to carry, like he had a I don't know if you call it carry concealed or whatever it was. We used to carry them. My uncle did too. And I remember they used to go at a range regularly. And when I was in elementary school, they used to take me with them and stuff. So I was like, but they both did. I remember like when I was real young, they used to teach me the rules and stuff, like on how you handle and everything, which I always think was good. It's like part of that information. It's funny. You were just helping your son change a tire and stuff like that. And I think about, all the lessons and stuff you get. And that's a lot of what's missing, right? Especially in our culture like that. The
Absolutely.
And the messages you get passed through those from your older generation. And I passed that on to my nephews. I made a specific point to my nephews at a younger age to make them aware of that same stuff. Even with gun stuff. Use legally, having a shotgun and stuff like that. But I made them aware of that stuff too. Also because to take away the curiosity, right? Because I remember they were moving down south, And
Right.
you know, when you're younger kid and stuff like that, I was thinking, I was like, yo, sooner or later somebody gonna come through, and you know, somebody's gonna have a gun or something. Yeah, they're gonna be old enough, you know, as they start to get older, somebody's gonna have something. I was like, yo, don't ever, like, you know, number one rule, like, you know, first of all, you shouldn't be around it anyway. But if you introduce with, yo, nothing, you know, you don't cross any path with, you know, you ain't pointing at nothing, or no one's pointing at you with anything, you know. That's even I don't care if it's a BB gun or it's a real gun, or like every gun is considered a real gun. That's what I was, you know, I was taught too. Like I grew up with when I was a little guy, I was like 7, 8 years old with a BB gun. My parents taught me to treat that like a real gun kind of thing. And
Well, that's you know, for mine, they learned first on BB guns that were actually to scale.
yeah. So,
You
but
know,
that's that's good. I
yeah,
mean, but
yeah.
if you're gonna be introduced to that stuff, because it's, you know, you're gonna run into it. Somebody's gonna run into it like sooner or later one way. I don't say they're going to, but many are, especially I'm sure down in the South, especially up in New York. You know, you're gonna I don't know if this is. I guess there ain't no matter to this. I remember I was in college when this is like a little. We had people in and out of our room. To this day, I still don't even know who it was. It was a college dorm. We was in our room, our roommate, and bunch people in and out, left out, or whatever. And somebody had a pack. I don't know if you call it a satchel, a packet, or something like that. And I was like, oh, somebody left something in here. I was like, somebody left a gun in the room. I'm like, what the hell? Like, so I was like, whose is this, right? And then
Right.
even though then a little while later it was like gone, like somebody has to come in and out. But I was like, I don't know. So I like to say, like you're gonna run into things sooner or later, whether you want to or not. You know what I mean? I don't even know. That's funny. To this day, I don't even know who's carrying that. But oh shoot. Go ahead.
I just want to say to whoever's still listening, my suggestions about guns and arming up is just one part of a series of things that I think people should be doing. I'm still big on people advocating for the things that they believe in. Black, white, whatever, Asian, whatever. Like, you know, if you see something is wrong, speak up about it and do something about it. Do something about it. I'm also big, on the local voting, and then learning more about how that stuff affects you where you are. You can learn about the federal stuff, which you should absolutely, but how does that stuff affect you where you are? And on top of that, I mean, we got to educate ourselves, and we got to be honest about what we're seeing and what we're witnessing in our lifetime, because the reality is, because we're not doing nothing collectively, it'll be in our children's nephews and nieces lifetimes too. I mean, that's just the way it's going to go. And what you going to say?
Oh, now I was gonna mention a couple of things. I had to ask you a question because I was thinking about my mentality with guns, right? And I could think of a couple of things when I was like when I was a lot younger that came up. And I'm not gonna put these a neighbor of mine, somebody like, I guess a lot of people around, or some people around me. They may not know the story, but I'm not gonna get into it deep, I guess. But I remember when I was really young, there was a break-in of a neighbor. It was like a real violent crime and stuff like that.
Really?
I guess I could say it. I don't get into details of it, but it was essentially like it was a violent kind of break into somebody's home where people were like locked up and like they were like it was something like from TV, like they were like they were tied and locked up in while they did whatever in the house. I don't think anybody was physically like whatever, but they broke into the house. So that was so it was a violent crime, like, and this happened when I was young, kind of thing. And so I know my pops, like, man, he didn't play with anything. Like he kept a gun with him like regularly. Like anytime we left out the house, he had a whether people knew it or not, like he had one on him. But I was also thinking as I got a little older, like I remember, I had my first little hoopty car and stuff like that. I put a bunch of little like radio speaker and stuff in it and everything. And the crazy experience was, I'll tell the story, and we are going to start winding down soon, so I'll put this out there. But this is a funny little story, and this kind of adds to my mentality, like on gun. My thoughts on guns. So, I remember. So a few nights before, like in the middle of the night, my car alarm would go off. Right, car alarms go off all the time. Like so, but it was like 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and I wake up half asleep, and I go toward the door, hit the remote, chirp, like turn it off. And then happened like 2 days in a row. So another time, it happened again. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, what the hell? Chirp, like turn it off again. And then, so like on the third night, I was like, I'm getting sick and tired of it happening every night in a row. So I turned it, I left it off. Like I made sure the alarm wasn't on. I disengaged it. So I came out. I think I came out. No, I know what happened. So that third night, that next day, when I did come out, my car was broken into. They ripped the radio out and everything, like speakers and everything. They just tried. And I said to myself, and this is a car parked in the driveway. And I said to myself, somebody who's willing to come onto your property, break into your stuff, like not even sitting down the street, like they got to walk like 30 feet, whatever, into your stuff, like right up against your house. I said, they're only a couple steps from coming into your home to try to do whatever they can. And the crazy thing was that I found out late on that night, I realized I had put in like motion lights and stuff like that. So I'd walked in the drive, and I was like, "What the hell? The lights didn't come on." I was like, "Oh damn, I gotta change the bulb." And so I went and got a bulb and came back to change it, and it was loose. And I was like, "What the hell?" So what I realized is the person who broke into the car was basically like fixing it like multiple days. They tried a couple times before, and that was me turning off the alarm, and they had unscrewed the motion lights so that they could come onto the property.
Wow.
Without the lights coming on. You know what I mean? So I was like, like, you know what I'm saying? So that was like a wake-up call to like, one wake-up call and like, many things on like, the extent to which people will do, go to whether or not, whether it's something crazy or if they want to take something, you know what I mean? So that was my long story.
Nah, I mean, I get it. I mean, again, protect yourself. People, protect yourselves to the best of your ability. And if you could bear arms and you choose to bear arms. Protect yourselves. I mean, that's not the only answer. You know what I mean? It's not the only answer. But I mean, things are just, I don't know. There's just a lot going on. There's a lot going on. But I also wanted to say earlier when I was reading on my phone, because I was driving and reading, I just wanted to say my bad to Mookie. I realized when I got in with the boys real quick and I got to my laptop, but my laptop was tripping, so I wouldn't have been able to completely log on. I was like, oh, that was Mookie. I get it. So my bad, Mook. I don't want you necessarily kicked off the platform. My bad, man. I was in a moment, so I definitely wanted to say that. But yeah, Mike, we can definitely, we can wind this one down, man. I really feel bad for the families of everybody that lost their loved ones, and we got to deal with this terrorism problem we have in this country. Well, you can't really just say that is a blanket statement, but certain things can be put into action to start offsetting this type of stuff and fighting these websites that are allowing this stuff, I guess, and different personalities that are on these news channels and stuff like that. If they inciting it, shoot, they need to do the time too. Just a thought.
Yeah, I mean, I guess at the very least, one thing is for people to be aware of, like, just what's going on when things are said or something, something is said or something's done. Like, just be aware of it and communicating that stuff, and just, I guess, just being on alert in general, because that stuff. Oh, one other question I meant to ask you real quick was like, what do you think your regular, like your day-to-day level of alertness is on things you're going on around? Sometimes I think I'm like too like, checking on somebody, always moving around kind of thing. And I don't even know if that makes a difference for something, a situation like that. I think it does. Like just your alert level of just what's going on in your surroundings kind of thing. I know, like, I think for the most part, mine is always on high, and I don't know if that's like relative to like just being in the space in New York, even in the suburb side, or or being in and out of the boroughs and stuff all the time. And I mean, that's not even fair to say, not even because crazy stuff happens all the time everywhere. It's just as much around.
Nah, it's high. Mine's is high. And it's emotionally high.
Mm.
And that's just what it is. I mean, we as a man, sometimes we're taught not to have sensitivities and stuff like that when we're young, all that dumb stuff. Nah, this is an emotional elevated because I don't understand. I just don't understand. That's all I can say. I don't understand. You know what I mean? If I understood it, like case in point, I've been in situations where I've had to defend myself. I understood that for all intents and purposes for that situation, I wasn't going to harm other people outside of the person who was trying to harm me. So I can sort of it was a form of violence, but I understood the confines of that. I do not understand taking innocent people's lives on any level, whether that's mass murder or just regular murders. I don't understand. I just think that people are wired differently, and some people are just not designed for humanity.
Yeah, I mean, you're not supposed to be able to understand stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like if somebody's, you gotta be in somebody's sick head to even comprehend like what's even occurring in that situation. But it ain't something. I mean, it ain't certain regular people you're supposed to try to understand because you can't make sense out of something like that. You know what
I mean? Nah, but we've had enough history, like Daru said earlier, we've had enough history to understand that sometimes you got to fight things differently. Let me give you an example. So when Charles was talking about the Reconstruction earlier and basically jockeying for power, I was like, that's tricky. I didn't want to get into it from a historical perspective, but I do want to say this. In that same book I was talking about, All God's Children, and I've talked about it before, I'm going to speak about this really briefly. The Bosket family consisted of the father, the mother, and numerous children. The grandfather had a lot of land, but as he was tilling to his land and farming, he was being cheated out of his profits. One of the sons was like, yo, like they cheating us out the profits. Some of the other sons was like, yo, they cheating us out the profits again. We're gonna go to that ass, as they said. We're gonna fight them. Or we're gonna do something. The father was more from a docile perspective because he was of the old school of thought. So his sons basically had these two, amongst his sons, they had different thoughts about how things should be dealt with. Ultimately, the Bosket family divided in their ideologies, but one set of the Bosket families went to war in the 1800s with things the way they were. And at times they were winning, like a lot of times. So in essence, they met the level of aggression with aggression, but they were intelligent people. And don't think that, that dude, his parents were engineers. Did you read that, Mike, in the article? Did you see that?
Did I see what?
His parents were engineers. Did you see that?
Oh, no, I didn't see that.
Yeah, both his parents was engineers. He was in a town of less than 5,000. But he had already said prior to that he was going to do something murderous and suicidal, but they never once said he was going to do something murderous and suicidal to Black people. But then over the pandemic, supposedly, he gets indoctrinated into all of these schools of thoughts. And then he studies another serial evil, mass murderous, racist, whatever the hell you want to call it. I don't have words for these people, man. I don't have words for them. But he studied them, and then he puts on the cam, and like Perry said earlier, he goes to live streaming to set the example, like Tashera had said. because that's all it is. So all I'm saying is this. You don't see that happening right there in parts of LA. Not saying it can't happen, because it can happen anywhere. Let's just say that. Let's just agree on that, okay? I'm just saying likelihood. You don't see that happening in areas where the soft targets aren't. And another thing is, when you start messing with people's elders and their grandmothers and their aunts, you're not only waking a sleeping giant, you potentially are going to cause a war. And I don't necessarily mean like a war, like where it's like, everything's on fire, civil war everywhere. No. I've always said it. Everybody's not punking out. Y'all have heard me say it over the years. Everybody's not scared. Everybody not saying it because there are plenty of examples of individuals that do stuff that get touched. But like I was talking to one of my friends earlier, her and her husband, and I said, it's crazy because some people really think that black people are just scared. But the reality is, in my humble opinion, because of all of the religious energy that we share, all of the spiritual energy that we share, we're more concerned with what the Most High thinks than man thinks now. But we also saw that war with our ideologies on how to deal with this thing. We all got incredible people in our lives that are of all cultures. I mean, all of us can agree to that on this phone. I'm on the phone, but on this website. We know incredible people of all nationalities, race, and creeds.
That's one of the blessings of New Rochelle, kid. Honestly,
it is definitely. It is, but it is a blessing in that life for all of us. Yeah, but I don't want to twist it yet. See, Charles, you about that? I want you to finish that thought, because I know that thought is fundamentally what has caused me more. I don't want to say confusion, but more like, what the hell do you do, than anything. But I want to finish, what I was saying a second ago. Us knowing different people and knowing that there's good people, it still has not benefited humanity in the way that I think it could. Because if you're an ally, as some people classify themselves, be a loud, unapologetic ally. Don't be a closeted ally when you only talking about it when you come to the cookout and Charles is making something on the grill and me and Mike are playing spades, and then you want to talk about race issues, but then when you leave, you're not doing nothing. You just go back and you just quiet. What was you gonna say, Charles? Because you sparked something.
No. I was just saying that, like, I believe that, the mixture in New Rochelle, it allowed you, to, as compared to, let's say, like, when I moved to New Rochelle from Mount Vernon was basically black. You know what I'm saying? It did have it, but it started becoming less and less. All right, take care. Yeah, it didn't have the diversity. Say, New Rochelle was more diverse, man, and I think, like, in this day and age, I believe that having that diversity is definitely good. I definitely understand your point too. What you were saying. But I think, like, and that's one of the things that, like, as far as me personally, man, with that traveling stuff, man, why it's like so important to me, man, because it ain't like, I always tell people, those joints ain't vacations to me. They like life experiences, man. It's like my chance to go see somewhere else in the world, how other people live, how other people think. You know what I'm saying? And just different cultures, different experiences. And I think that in the end, that hopefully is what's going to make people more open-minded to some of the things because, yo, you know, the crazy thing is, like, yo, we all live in the same country, kid. But like the experiences, which I mean, you know, I'm not saying no deep shit that people don't know, like, but the experiences is like crazy different. Like, you know, yo, just think about this. Yo, you could be a white person and live like somewhere in Vermont, Maine, fucking North Dakota somewhere, kid, and literally like go up through like damn near your whole school career from kindergarten to 12th grade without really interacting with black people. You know what I'm saying? So like, or not having any significant real interactions, man. You know, like I said, you know, I mean, and there's a lot of places in America you do that. Picture yourself as a black man. Just think of yourself as a black man. Where can you go in America and not have to interact with white people? Like you can't even, yo, there ain't nowhere. But white people can have that experience of almost not even interacting with us, Kay, in certain areas of the country that they live in and different things. So it's almost like, yo, it allows you to be that level of closed-mindedness. And then if you're tuning into these news channels that are just creating this narrative about black people, it's almost like, how do you get a different perspective? When you literally could go like your whole school year career without even interacting with them. You know, yeah. So and that's like that creates that, like, yo, with this dude, they said we're Conklin, New York. I don't even know where the hell that is, but I looked it up, and at the 2020 census, this joint was like 90% white.
Yeah, 0.6% black. It was something. What was it?
Yeah, it was some crazy number. So I'm saying like
black or other.
So my thing is, and like you know, obviously I ain't making no excuses for him or anybody. It's just like it's almost like, yo, where they should interact in a town like that in upstate rural New York, because most people think of New York as New York City, and New York is basically farmland once you get too far away from the city. Yo, it's like, yo, you live in a city that's 90. That's what makes it even more crazy to me. Like, you can't even see the replacement happen around you, motherfucker. You live in a city where there ain't no black people. Like, how did you even buy into that ideology? You can't even visibly see it occurring around you. You know what I mean? So, but it's like, just think about that. Yo, like, think about your mind can be indoctrinated with anything. Like, you don't even interact with black people. You don't even have them. You don't even have them where you live to interact with them. You know?
Z, some quick thing. Point I was going to point out that you just mentioned. Something I always thought was crazy and unique, especially about Westchester. Like, you know, we all grew up. Like, I don't know, if you grow up in New Rochelle or you know, family in New Rochelle, Mount Vernon, about it, you know, for us it's like one and the same. New Rochelle, Mount Vernon, New Rochelle, whatever. And but you're right, like the demographics and stuff is crazy difference, right? And I always knew like the amount is, but I just actually double checked it in relation to what you were saying. Yo, even in comparison to the city, like Mount Vernon is like close to 70% black, right? Yo, there's such a small percentage now, and here's a crazy thing too, you know, and everybody from around here knows, like, you know, there's such a small percentage of like such a small white population, and to add to that, you know, everybody's segregated to one side of town for the most part, right? Which is crazy. Like in comparison to, say, even New Rochelle or even the city in general, like this Manhattan, I think in general is only somewhere in the name of like not Manhattan, the city, all the boroughs was like 20, you know, it's in 20s, like low 20%. Now think of that in comparison to like Mount Vernon, like what you just said, growing up there, that was like, it's like 60, 65, 70% black. Like, so the environment is it's a different makeup in how you kind of, I don't know, how you move and just interact with certain people and stuff like that, and just even knowing the difference. And to that same point, like you said, when you go to those rural towns all across, you know, they're dealing with 90-something%, rarely having any interaction with black people, whatever. You know, so I mean that makes that leads to like a whole host of possible problems and stuff that can come up and everything. You know. But I don't know, I just figured I'd just throw that out there.
No, but especially like you said, especially if you impressionable, especially if your source of information is coming from people who are hell bent on, racist ideology, holding, you know, it's just. But to me, the flip side is it's like, but then how can you believe that when even if they told you blacks ain't nothing but criminals and gangbangers and thugs, drug dealers and all of that, like where do you see that in Conklin, New York? When they tell you, oh, yo, you getting replaced, like, yo, like where do you even see it to even believe like, yo, there may be some validity to this, man? You know what I'm saying? It's like, you're not seeing that and most people tend to, honestly, when all said and done, focus on the issues that affect them more directly, not indirectly. So I'm like, where are you even seeing this in your town? That you're being replaced? That, like you don't even see. I mean, I don't know what's in Conklin, New York. I'm sure they probably don't have a lot of black gang members up there. You know what I'm saying? So you're not even seeing that. Like you're not even.
Yeah, but what they are seeing is that they're coming. You know what I mean? They're on the way. Think about how the hysteria came from, like, terrorists in the Middle East, and you had all these police departments. They were like, after everything after 9/11, you have police out in the middle of like Nebraska and stuff buying assault vehicles and trucks and everything, saying we got to be ready for the next one. We got to be ready for this. You know what I mean? Like, so, it's like the same mentality. You know what I mean? Like, wait a minute, I don't have anybody coming through. Come through your coffee.
Just like the caravan that was coming from Mexico.
Yeah. Hundreds of thousands of people. I thought they were just rerunning the same real footage over and over again. I'm like, where all these people at? Right? Oh, it's probably from 10 years ago or something. Who knows, man? Oh.
Yo, real quick, and then we can definitely wind down because we're within 5 minutes, 4 minutes actually of hitting the extended Dubai. There's no evidence. Like, to your point, Charles, there's no evidence, and he didn't need it anyway. Dude followed whatever followed, and and there's never really been any evidence. You got whole cities burnt down because of lies. You know what I mean? Like, so, you know what I mean? It's a continuation, but if we could just I guess, shout out the comments, even though I can't really see them. I can only see like a few.
I'll shout out a few. I'll go back a little. So we had some comments from shout out to Tia, Crystal's on there, Calvin definitely, Darul.
What up, Mike?
Let me see.
Tempest, Perry.
Tempest, yeah, I'm just reading off a couple of Crystal said, thank guys, you guys have done this, and thankful that you guys kept it going. Calvin gave an early good night. Oh, maybe that's because he was signing off. I don't know.
Pops, Calvin.
Tia mentioned going to the grocery is one of those places I love to go, and COVID changed that. This shooting has me looking over my shoulder last night in fear of being shot. Perry mentioned required reading. I'm not sure what that was, though. Steven says there's so many of these shootings. It's very troubling. Tashir said again, the message that was sent in the manner of which he was arrested screams loud and clear. It's not much of a distraction for others who think like him to follow suit, and that's a very interesting point. I mean, people they can go down with a blaze, or what do you call it, blazing? What's the expression? Blazing.
Blaze of glory or something.
Or something like that, but they could, but if they do get caught, they'll have their day in court kind of thing. They ain't gotta worry about, getting shot or something like that. Steven Scher, give a shout out to him. Why does anyone need it? Huh?
Stephen Capizzola was here also.
Oh, okay. Why does anyone need anything automatic? The Second Amendment. was made to get muskets for defense. Those are from replacing bullets one by one. Yeah, that's a point that's always. Steven said, shout out to a few people. Mike, I don't know if that was Mike Williams is on, or he's accusing me with Mike Williams, two people. Let me see. The rule says they want the old days back. And let me see. Yeah, okay. I think that's about it. That's about it.
Yeah. Fellas, I think
y'all both sitting in like, it look like dark backgrounds. Like, yeah, like I'm doing like a. I don't know what. Oh, Mike Williams is on there. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's what I said. What's up, Mike?
Mike Williams. All right. What's up, Mike?
Get that dash.
I thought so.
I'm driving, looking at my dash cam, man. Everybody should have a dash cam in their car.
Yeah. Just make sure you're watching that road. Yeah, dash cams too. Yeah, we big proponents of
dash cams. Yo, you know what? You never know what. Yo, you know, in the back street on Shore Road, going to Pelham Road in New Rochelle, they found a car burning down there, and it was two people in the car that had been shot, and like from the Lower East Side. Yeah, it was a car burning, and I was like, damn, you know how many times I didn't took that back street? I used to live on Pelham Road, used to live on Drake Avenue and all of that, and I always would take that back street, and I was like, so the other day they found a car down there, it was burning. Come to find out, it was two bodies in there. They had both been shot in the head and all of that. It was a like 22-year-old Spanish dude and like a 23-year-old Asian chick. I was reading their mom said they've been friends since middle school. They wasn't dating. The girl had asked them for a ride or something. She owned like a nail salon. Her parents owned like a Chinese restaurant down in Chinatown. She was like, yo, she don't even know how they ended up in the Bronx. They must have been kidnapped or something. And the car that was burning was actually the dude's mother's car. And they don't really know what happened, but I was just saying, so they said they got a call about the car on fire like 4 a.m. So I don't go that way no more, but I was like, damn, man, you know how many times I done came through that street or whatever, and I was like, what if and to set a car on fire, you probably had to be sitting there for a minute dousing it with gasoline or some type of accelerant, and I was like, yo, damn, you know how many times I done came around there? What if I done came around the corner and saw that? And it just started making me think, like, because my dash cam is wired to a constant power source in my car. So it shuts off when I cut the car on, but if it senses motion, I got it set to motion, not just collision. Anytime it senses motion in front of the car or whatever, it'll click the camera on and start recording. And sometimes, I could look at it and I could see like things that happen at night, people walking past the car, not even realizing they being recorded. You know what I'm saying? Like anytime you come within a certain area of the car, it will automatically click the dash cam on, and it will start recording until at least 10 seconds goes by where it no longer senses movement, right? And I was like, man, I need to pull this camera out, this card out, and sometimes put it on my actual computer. Like, yo, you don't know what you didn't caught, because I don't come watch it every day, but every night it's recording. It's capturing something, man, and people don't even know they're on camera. It's a good investment.
Yo, does yours only save to does it wirelessly upload, or it just saves to wherever your card is in it?
In the card, it depends on if you got one that has the Wi-Fi in it. This one, because I've had it for a while now, this one doesn't have the Wi-Fi in it. I have to actually take the card out, and I mean, I could watch it from my camera. I don't have to take the card out, but if I want to see it real good and wider and clearer, I gotta put it in the computer, because this one, I actually should have waited, but this was one of the first 3 camera ones. So this car, my dash cam records the front, the rear, and also the interior of the car. There's 3 cameras on it. But I like that interior camera, not so much because it's recording me, but it picks up that side of the car that the front and the rear cameras miss. So I could follow somebody, like my camera could follow you walking the whole side of my car. I can see it from all 3 cameras. You know what I'm saying? So but it's clear as hell, man. And like I said, I got it hardwired so that it works in park mode. If you got to hardwire them to a constant power source in the car, so it like with motion, I'll take it off of motion if the car is gonna be like when I go away, I'll take it off of motion sensor and just put it on collision because it can drain your battery if it stays on motion sensor and I'm going for like a week without starting the car. Because you got to think it's recording every time something comes past the car. Another car, a person walking, a dog running by, any type of movement it senses, it'll click the camera on. So it's constantly running off of, it's hardwired to the battery and all of that stuff so that it can work like that. But if I click it and just put it on collision, it won't pick up it won't start recording when you walk past. It will only start recording if it senses impact to the car. But like I said, I only do that when I'm going to be gone for a while. Like right now at night, when I know I'm going to get up again in the morning, it's not going to drain the battery. So this will record everything that comes around the car, every car that passes all night long. It'll just keep clicking on recording, man. I'll be having so much, like sometimes I'll just look at it and you just be like, it'll be people standing outside talking and everything. They don't even know like that. There's a car right there that just recorded that whole interaction y'all had. My car just sitting there recording people standing out there talking.
Z, on that note, we're gonna pause, I think, and see if anybody had any other wrap up on stuff before we give them the outro music.
But it got me out of a ticket.
Oh boy.
I got to get going, Phil.
We got to have a second segment on the dash cam. Yeah. All right. So y'all good, everybody? What?
Oh,
man. I was scrolling.
Cut me off. What the hell?
I was scrolling.
All right.
Hold on.
So unless well.
Now that's your job, Mike.
All right.
You on the laptop. Because look, I already messed it up.
All right. So
but fellas, listen.
Yeah, you can give the exit. I'll do hit the controls here.
All right. Well, I'm gonna say this before we go. I haven't said this to you in a while, but seriously, man, be safe out here, and prayers up for everybody because it's just a different time period, man.
Yeah.
Safe, and arm up if you can arm up. I'm gonna stop.
All right, everybody.
I'm gonna stop. We out.